Hi there and welcome to this video review on the Hollyland Mars 300 dual HDMI wireless video transmission system. Now before we begin, Hollyland were kind enough to send me a unit for the purpose of this review. They're not paying for this review, but what I always like to do is use any kit in a real world scenario. So I've been testing it for the last week. I've had it on a couple of shoots and I've really put it through its paces to see how it holds up. So just beginning with what actually comes in the box, you obviously get the two units, the transmitter and the receiver. You get the aerials that attach onto the top of these units, and you actually get one spare, which is nice to have as well, just in case you accidentally break or lose one. You also get two brackets, a 1/4-20 and another mounting bracket as well for mounting on your camera or to the back of the monitors. And then it also comes with a single power supply. Now it is worth noting that the unit doesn't come with batteries or HDMI cables, so you will need to supply your own. The unit uses Sony NPF or L series batteries. These are fairly ubiquitous within the indie filmmaking world and are very cheap to pick off of the likes of Amazon or eBay. And you'll obviously need two, one for the transmitter, one for the receiver, and then the same with HDMI cables, one for the transmitter and one for the receiver. It is nice to see that they've included a power supply. You're most likely going to be using this with the receiver, so where your monitor is located, especially if you have it set up as a static monitor in a video village, for example. The monitor will likely be powered through AC and the option to power your HDMI transmitter so you're not running off battery all the time is a handy option. There's multiple mounting options, so you can mount with the 1/4-20, or there is a small plate attachment as well, and it allows you to mount the unit on your camera either in the vertical or horizontal position, just giving you that flexibility to set it up how you want. You can obviously attach it to a cage or some sort of rig, so having those mounting options is really handy. So once you have the unit out of the box with the antennas on, connected to your camera and to your monitor, it's just a matter of powering on the two units. And I found that I didn't even need to pair the devices. Once they powered on, you leave it for sort of 15 seconds or so and they automatically pair to each other. You get a green light to confirm this. And then once the unit is picking up a video signal, you'll also get a yellow light to confirm it has a video signal as well. Now the unit is designed for the more budget-friendly filmmaker. It retails for around $500 or 500 British pounds. And although this is still quite a bit of money, it's definitely at the more budget end of HDMI wireless systems. The unit has a range of 300 foot, hence the name Mars 300, or 100 meters if you're working in metric. Certainly I found this to be the case. I tested it outdoors in line of sight and I was getting well over 100 meters. I sort of stopped around 150, 170 meters and I was still getting a nice clear signal. However, what I find is generally more important than line of sight is how they work in congested areas. So in buildings with lots of metal structures. And I tested this throughout a building with corridors, and I was able to go into separate rooms and still get a clear signal up to about 30 to 50 meters away with several metal doors in between. So the transmission system from the unit seems very robust indeed. The other important thing with wireless HDMI systems is the latency that they can introduce. Now it tended to be that cheaper units introduce more latency, and so there's a lot of lag between what the camera is actually recording or seeing and what is showing on the monitor. Now I did some testing with the Panasonic GH5. Now this is a camera that does have some lag over HDMI, so if you connect the camera directly to a monitor through a cable, there is a small lag of about 1 to 2 frames when recording at 24 or 25 frames a second. So I wanted to see the difference between connecting the camera directly to a monitor with an HDMI cable and using the Hollyland Mars 300. Like I say, the latency with a direct connection was about 1 to 2 frames. With the Hollyland system, it was maybe a fraction more, 1 to 2 to 3 frames tops. They advertise it as a latency of less than 0.1 seconds. At 24 frames a second, one frame is about 0.04 seconds. So between 1 to 3 frames is pretty much within spec. So I was pleasantly surprised that the Hollyland Mars 300 really only introduced maybe one extra frame of lag when connected to the Panasonic GH5. Not something that's really going to be a problem in any real world shooting scenario. Looking at the build quality of the unit, it seems very solid. It is a metal construction. The parts all connect together very nicely. The battery connection is slightly stiff, but I always prefer the batteries to be a little bit hard to get on than the likelihood of them falling off, so that's really good to see. So overall, I've enjoyed using the Hollyland Mars 300 system. For me, the most important thing about a system like this is that it is easy to use and it just works. I don't want to be fiddling around, pairing units, configuring things, wasting time on set. So something that I can just set up, connect, and it's working is great. And this unit certainly does that. There's some affiliate links in the description below. If you've got any questions or comments, please also drop them below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much for watching.